if you want to serve, you can actually do whatever you want to show that is exemplary within the period allowed. You can do it in 1 year. Just think of Ghana. Things are changed in 6 months. So you don't need to be there for eternity. And there's so many competent leaders in Africa. If the term is 2 years, serve 2 years and go. Another person will come and continue for. Once you show an exemplary life or direction, nobody can change it.
Thank you. Thank you, Wolobi.
I know that the best is done when you are young, ideal, and vibrant and dynamic. When you are kuje, then you don't have the best. And but some people believe that unless they are there, nobody else. They will even tell you that they haven't got anybody else. And I believe that that is a sin against God. Because if God takes you away, which God can do anytime, then somebody else will come. And that somebody else may do better or may do worse. I don't say it will do better. It may do better, it may do worse. But somebody else will come.
Thank you, Baba. Maybe, Charlotte, before I come to you, I'm told that Governor Peter Obi would like to say a few words. I know they're killing me with time, but he's spoken a lot about integrity in leadership. So I'd love for us to give...
I'll come to your question. But this issue of opposition winning, ensuring or giving indication of credibility of election, I think it's also part of what we get from our friends and development partners from the West. My friend Bush Jr., I think he's 43rd president of America. I think he's 43rd. Who will still remain friends anytime I go to America and I have a call on him. So my daughter contested election as senator, and she lost. And when I saw him, I told him, I said, "Oh, my daughter contested election as a senator, and she lost." He said that election must be credible. Now, but that to me is not really the way that it should be looked at. But of course, that's the way that, if my daughter contested election and she lost, it means that I didn't interfere with the election and all that. Okay. So that is that. I just believe that what I said earlier, there's a lot that should go into democracy before election, and there's even a lot more that should go into democracy after election. And democracy dividend must be felt by everybody. There should be nobody left out from benefiting from democracy dividend. Now, you said that we are getting young chief executive at our national levels now. Yes, we are. But I was fairly young when I left as military head of state. I left at 42. I came back 20 years later at 62. Still comparatively young. And then I left after 8 years at 70. Still comparatively young. And if I have not given up, now officially at 88, still comparatively young, then I can say to these young African presidents, there is life after the state house. I think that's very, very important. And if they know that there is life after state house, I think they will be a little bit along the path of rectitude. They will do things right, knowing that there's still a lot of them. I have also suggested to the AU, part of the problem of some of the young ones is, what do they do? What do they do if you leave government as head of state at 50, whatever? What do you do for the rest of your life? And they don't think of what to do. And I have suggested that AU should establish, there are some universities now that AU, and give them office secretary. Let them first of all write their memoir. Secondly, let them go around and give talk. For a meeting like this, you get them to come and give talk. President Mahama will make them comfortable for the 2 or 3 nights that they will be here. President Jonathan will keep their company. I think we should not let them feel frustrated or idle. I will be specific. The former president of Republic of Benin, Boniyayi, was put in house arrest. And I was really, really worried. Almost every day he was calling me, what can I do? So I wasn't close enough to his predecessor to be able to approach him. And if I approach him and he didn't respond, what do I do? So I went to President Ouattara. I said, hey, you are doyen of Francophone leaders. Why don't you handle this? He said, no. He can't handle it. So I said, what else can I do now? So I jumped inside the plane and I went to Paris. I didn't book any appointment. And I went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Fortunately or unfortunately, the minister was not in town. So the ambassador who was on the desk of Africa desk received me. And I said, look, I have come here. First of all, he said, look, I cannot take you to my office. I will have to take you to the foreign minister's office and receive you there. I said, take me anywhere. So when we got to the foreign minister's office, I said, look, the first thing, what is French policy for Francophone Africa? He said, now we don't talk of Francophone Africa. French policy, first of all, is the security of 15% French population who are either of African descent or living in Africa. The second is we go for business, anywhere we can see business. The third is with you, 54, AU, we 27, if in international meeting we come together, we should carry the day. I said, all right, thank you very much. Now, I come to talk about the situation in the Republic of Benin. And he said, no, we cannot come into that. So, but then he said to me, talk to President Kagame, and President Kagame may be able to solve the problem for you. Now, I have to go to Paris to get solutions for. So, of course, I'm very close to President Kagame. So I phoned President Kagame. 48 hours later, President Kagame has done it. President Boniyayi has been released from house arrest. Now, what I'm saying here, you say what the problem of the young ones must also be of interest, not only nationally, but regionally and continentally.
Yes, I have to mention. When I was the vice president, I received one of the members of the Presidential College of Switzerland. And I think it's Switzerland. And we were discussing about the issue of governance and so on. And I said that their fathers, their founding fathers, felt that giving so much power to one person, called the president, is very dangerous to people. And that they opted that they will not have a president. So every time they have more people that come together to manage the country and make the parliament rather strong because the parliament represents all sections of the country. And they have the most stable politics today. Though with minimal resources, the economy is one of the strongest. Because the fight against rulership, like in Nigeria, north or south or east or west, is not there. And I believe that the political scientists and the lawyers in Africa, we must also be looking at some of these issues. Do we really create a unique system of government? The traditional theoretical democracy, is it really working? Frankly speaking, it's not working. Though there's this debate of, it comes up here, whether a president that is doing well can continue to stay on and on and on. And it's almost like a philosophical debate, because sometimes when you are questioned as a former president, I find it difficult to answer. I think your NDP man raised that with me in the Gambia. I said, when I became a vice president, I didn't know I was going to be a president anyway, but somehow instinctively, I just felt that what happened to these Asian tigers? Some of these Asian countries that, in Nigeria especially, with Singapore and others, Malaysia, we were at the same level. In fact, in the late 50s to early 60s, we were even better in some parameters. But now they are almost entered first world or near first world. We are still down. What happened within this period? How long does it take them? And what are the key things? And some group of friends said, okay, I should not worry, they were going to do the research for me. And they did investigation for me. And when they came back as a summary, it took between 30 to 40 years for these countries to move from where we are today in Nigeria, Ghana, to where they are, from third world to first world or near first world. Just 30, 40 years. It was not within the lifetime of anybody. But the funny thing, which I always find it difficult to mention so that I'm not misquoted, is that, and it tallies with some of the questions they asked and Obasanjo tried to explain, but it was difficult to explain. Most of them, those countries, within those short periods, were managed by dictators. So sometimes it's very difficult for you if you know what happened in society. And of course, if you know that in the parliamentary system practiced by Britain, I don't know how many years Margaret Thatcher stayed as a prime minister, or maybe a place like Germany, the Chancellor of Germany, you can stay there for 40 years if you continue to win your elections. So we Africans must begin to look at governance. The problem in Africa is our electoral system. People manipulate the elections to be there by all means. If we are doing proper elections, and if you are not doing well, people will vote you out. We may not even ask these questions. Because those who are not doing well, the population will vote them out. But in this case, people use government instruments to perpetuate themselves in power, even when the people don't want them. But it's always a difficult question to answer. Don't even ask me because I don't have an answer. But let me really thank all of you for this. We even talk about youth leadership. And one thing I personally believe is that the youth, I may be wrong, are not necessarily looking for political offices. Why it appears like a country like Nigeria, why it appears as if it is a political office, that is the only business in the country. Where the economy is doing well and young people will find jobs or find businesses that will do, most of them in politics will not even go for politics. I was just an assistant director when I was approved to become a deputy governor of my state, and I was extremely reluctant. It's a story for another day. But if it is like, maybe if I had no job, I would have jumped on it 2 times. But because I had a source of income, and I was happy with what I was doing, I never wanted it. So I believe the young people themselves, it's because of the economies of our countries that this issue of the youth restiveness and so on is becoming so pronounced. So even civil society should interrogate this. In Nigeria, we have experienced young people that have managed the country. Of course, the First Republic, I cannot say their ages, but looking at history and the ages of those people at the time they died, they were very young people. After the death of the First Republic, the military took over, and they were young military officers. In fact, Gowon, who was the first military head of state, was a bachelor. He was not even married at the time he became head of state. He was 32 going 33, a young bachelor. He was our president. In my state then, River State, because then Nigeria had 12 states, the HSPIF was 24 going 25. They became the military governor of River State. But they did very well. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize. If you look at the cabinet of Gowon then, he had quite senior experienced people that worked with him. People like Chief Obafemi Awolowo was his vice, and a very experienced person. If you go to my state, River State then, there was a time King Spiff told, all his commissioners were older than him. He was just about 25 years old. All his commissioners were older than him. And there was a story he told me, there was a day he called one commissioner and asked him to go and do something. And the commissioner turned and said, my son, we will not do it this way. He said, my son, we will not do it this way. But don't worry, we'll get this thing done. Because for you to run the state, you run the country, you need a bit of experience. It's not about punching computer or any smart device. So the young people, to succeed, you also need the wisdom and the knowledge of the older people. I will encourage young people to hold offices, including, of course, somebody of 20-something years can manage big businesses, can also manage the country. If you have good people working with you, it's possible. So I'm not saying there should be even age limit to become president of any country. Depends on how people see the individual. But let us not assume that just because somebody is young, that he will succeed. That is not true. For you to succeed, you will need the wisdom and experience of the older people. So once again, let me, on behalf of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation and the government of the Republic of Ghana, thank all of you for coming to participate in this dialogue. I'm happy the Speaker of the Liberian Parliament said he will continue to participate in this kind of dialogue. Please, all of you, to continue to participate with us. We try to make it annual. We need to really have a constant discussion on democracy in Africa. If we don't, well, Bishop Kuka said that democracy don't die, but if we don't, the level of decline will get to a point that probably democracy will go into extinction. Thank you all.
Let's quickly take a look at some of the reactions coming from the social media platforms. I'm on Twitter, and let's look at some of the headlines here and the reactions following them. Like this one, Katsina State Governor is saying, Katsina government says bandit demands construction of schools, hospitals as part of peace deal. Now, these hospitals and schools that they are demanding, is it just going to service just the bandits, or is it going to service the entire community, or they should go to the forest and build it for them? So guys, see, if you start this negotiation, it's a long process. You can never satisfy these people. Anytime they come up with a demand, if you don't meet it, it's like, you know, you are the one faulting the agreement. You are flouting whatever has been agreed on. And it might just make them to start doing whatever they want to do. Now, let's see how Nigerians are reacting. This is coming from the Zamfara State governor. So let's quickly take a look at some of the reactions from Nigeria. This person say, "Onto whitewash them to freedom fighter." This person say, "You mean bandits want the government to do what the government should do? Someone make it make sense." And this other person say, "Bandits adopting social tactics for how long they test to earn millions, rustling and kidnapping. Do bandits have a union representative, or there are other free stylers operating around? If building hospital and school, rather should do it as what he ought to do. If building hospitals and schools, rather should do it as what he ought to do." Okay, I don't really understand. This person says his government should be ashamed of admitting this. What an epic disgrace. Nigeria is turning out to be something else. This person say, what that means is they are part of your government or partnership in your government. Trust Nigerians. This country is a joke. Schools, so as to teach fellow bandits more on handling arms, hospitals to treat their fellow members when harm. This country don't tire me. Honestly, Nigeria is a joke. This one say, those are the responsibilities of the state government. The state government should do the needful. And this person say, but someone is jailed for what not up to what these particular bandits are doing. This country is really finished. Honestly. They must be acting a skid in Katsina. Okay, that's from Katsina, not even Zamfara. Because no real life. Because no be real life be this. And if it's bandit, they go school. Another person said, what bandits start requesting? When bandits start requesting schools and hospitals, you know the government has failed. Imagine terrorists having better manifestos than politicians. So guys, the reactions here are not really funny, you know. This person, they will later demand something bigger, maybe governor's position. Takers never tired of taking. I mean it. Build more schools so they can do the Chibok thing. And this person said that's weird. So the bandits are basically setting social infrastructure, demanding schools and hospitals as conditions for peace. On one hand, it shows the depth of the insecurity issues. On the other hand, it highlights the urgent need for real development in the region. Hey, where are they going to build the schools for them? That's even the question. Is it going to be different from the normal schools? Are they going to build schools and call it bandit schools? We don't even know. Like people always say in Nigeria, when they explain and give you, if you understand them, and you say you'll be superhuman. Because what's happening in this country is unbelievable. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it here. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. There are other reactions I would have wanted us to take, but I don't really want to keep this video that too long. We all know what is happening in Rivers State. We heard that Fubara supporters who gathered in support of Fubara were later dispersed. You know, Fubara supporters dispersed after waiting in vain at Rivers house gate. Rivers Government House gate. Okay, they waited there and Fubara didn't come out to like celebrate with them. Possibly that is he's taking order from his masters. Fubara has really shown weakness in handling all this. Anyway, let's see some of the reactions. This one say it is troubling when youths neglect local government election where their voices matter most. Yet turn out in numbers to entertain. Apathy is fertilizer for bad governance. We know that the last election, the local government election, I don't even know how people want to participate in that election that was spearheaded by Wike. This one says, so Fubara suddenly has all these supporters. I beg, now pure scam. It's all about warming up. So warming up to him so they can enter his good book. That's the only game they are playing. The only job available for youth in Rivers State is political sycophancy. Otimbu. And this person say, if the leaders or organizers of this crowd don't know His Excellency Governor Fubara won't be at the government house today, don't that tell a lot about the change in dynamics? As well as the now existing distance between them and the governor. So Fubara didn't come to government house, or what? Fubara disappointed the crowd again as usual. By the way, where is Fubara? Or has he resigned? So people really came out to support Fubara, but Fubara was nowhere to be found. This one say, ha ha ha. So all these people could not protest for 2 months. The governor was removed. Yeah, people. And this person say there's nothing to rejoice about because the law states that the president cannot suspend or remove an elected governor. The most recent local government have shown that it was done solely to plunder and exploit the state's resources and to take political control in favor of APC. And this other person say, now this kind news una like to report bad news. When they call on a principal criminal, una go dey cry, but sabi report bad news of other people. Anyway, guys, I'll end it there. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Thank you.